Good morning. There are some questions. As I mentioned yesterday, I would like to answer questions, but there are many questions. One is, when I think of being reborn, I notice I'm clinging to my old sense of self, which is impermanent. How can I reconcile this with the teachings of reincarnations? Yes, as part of the question is you're clinging to false notion of self. Yes, so long as you desire, you shall definitely cling to notion of self. If you don't have desire, you don't cling to anything. In the first place, you have to recognize that you have desire. Consequently, you cling to your notion of self. How can I reconcile with the teaching of reincarnation? Reincarnation is, it sounds like non-Theravada Buddhist teaching. You know, carne is flesh. In Spanish, Portuguese, you say carne is flesh. Reincarnate is you entering into that flesh again. And therefore, this is not compatible with the teachings of the Buddha. So we rather not use that word reincarnation. We use the word rebirth. When we say rebirth, there is no connotation in that word of something pre-existing. When you say reincarnation, you assume that there is already there something, and then something else enters into it. But rebirth doesn't have that kind of implication, and therefore we use the word rebirth. Birth means coming together. Various factors form. As soon as the form comes to existence, feeling, perception, thought and consciousness also come along with that. Form is the unicellular being, ovum and sperm. The moment these two join together, that instant all the other factors, aggregates, are born along with that, but they are not very clear, distinct for us to identify. But the potential is there. As the embryo grows, these potential senses and feelings, perceptions, thoughts, consciousness all grow, arise. And therefore we start from all a fresh new entity together. But therefore, for this reason, we don't use the word reincarnation. Now, the question is how you cling to notion of self. Self, of course, is a notion that also grows as we grow. Even tiny little baby feels, the baby cannot express I, but the baby feels I, and that is why the baby is trying to get attention to the baby. Mother's attention, father's attention, somebody around or adult's attention. And then they give attention to that baby, and eventually the baby grows with the big ego, big self. And that's how we grow with the self, which was not there because of the desire and attention, because of our craving, we build it up. And eventually, I or self, ego, becomes an important, most important part of our life. And without which, perhaps we cannot live. We always think in terms of I. So, definitely I is impermanent, like everything else. So this notion, whatever notion we create, is impermanent. That which was not there, we create it, and then it passes away, disappears, then we create again. So, it is the notion that we create, and we tend to cling to it because of our desire. What has been the biggest challenge for you on your path to enlightenment? How did you overcome it? I want to overcome all these defilements. And through, honestly speaking, friends, through the practice of mindfulness and concentration, we can overcome any obstacle in our life. So, I must say the way to overcome our obstacle, whatever it is to practice the Noble Eightfold Path. Buddha repeatedly mentioned it in his discourses. The way to overcome obstacles, difficulties, problems, suffering is the practice of Noble Eightfold Path. That's what we all have to do to overcome our defilements. Not only major defilements, any defilements. Because Noble Eightfold Path is the path that leads to attainment of liberation. When we have this path, that path is good enough for overcoming any difficulty in life. It is because of not understanding the Noble Eightfold Path we get into all kind of trouble. I don't have to enumerate them. We all know how much trouble, problems, difficulties we encounter every day without having even the first of the Noble Eightfold Path. What is the first one? Right understanding. Right understanding. Because of not having right understanding, we face a lot of problems. They are not insurmountable. If we have right understanding, we all can overcome them. That is the path leading to the attainment of liberation. This method, system is applicable to anybody's life. not only my life, to anybody's life. Can you tell us about the time when you personally struggled with wrong action and how you overcome it? Wrong action is action of killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. Then surely, even for overcoming wrong actions, we have to have right understanding, right mindfulness, right effort. These three cardinal factors of Noble Eightfold Path we can use to overcome wrong actions, wrong intention, wrong livelihood, wrong effort, and wrong concentration, wrong mindfulness. So, you can see these three are very essential, major factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. To overcome, although we may have them periodically, every time we have wrong intention to do wrong action, go to mindfulness, go to effort, go to understanding. And when we use these three factors, we can overcome them. One could easily use the concept of change and anicca to be lazy and not fulfill one's responsibilities. As a layperson, how do you manage this? Okay. One could easily use the concept of change and anicca to be lazy. To be lazy and not to fulfill your responsibilities. Actually, change and anicca is, change actually can be used synonymously. In fact, the very nature of change or anicca is the driving force of fulfilling our responsibilities. If we do not understand the nature of anicca or impermanence, only then can we be lazy. You take things for granted and you become complacent, and do not fulfill your responsibility. If you understand, if you take impermanence seriously, you have to take action very quickly in order to fulfill your responsibilities. You are going, when you are a responsible person, you say to yourself, I do not want to miss this opportunity. This opportunity is not going to come back again. And therefore I must work harder before it changes, before it disappears, to act upon it, to fulfill my responsibilities. The very same impermanence should be used to fulfill our responsibilities. We cannot ignore responsibilities and ignore impermanence or anicca to perform responsibilities. So, as a layperson, how do you manage this? It is good for layperson as well as monastics. We all have to think 5 things. Dhamma, Jara Dhamma, Vyaya Dhamma, Marana Dhamma, and what you call Piyahi Vipayoga Dhamma and so forth. We are growing old. We can fall sick any time. We are losing our relatives. We may die any moment. We are responsible for our karma. And so forth. We have to think of all these things. And these are universal truth, not provincial. This, and therefore, the truth is applicable to any life, not only lay people, but monastic as well. So there is no difference in this. What is the difference between the 5 hindrances and the fetters? How do they fit into the broader context of practice? Okay, I give you a simile to make the meaning clear of these 2 words. Hindrances are like tree or plant which you cut and then it grows again. And then you cut it, grows again. I remember telling several times that there was a monastic here who planted bamboo plant behind my window. I said, don't plant bamboo there because it will grow and block my view of the outside, because bamboo grows very quickly. He said, no, Bhante, this is not Asia, this is America, it doesn't grow like that. I said, the bamboo doesn't recognize geographical difference or politics. Don't grow. He planted it. Sure enough, within 1 year, it grows very tall. Look at there, outside, bamboo. So I told him, see, this is what I told you. So he felt guilty. He dug it and removed it. He first cut and then it grew again. Then he got a bulldozer and dug the place and removed. After about 6 months, again it grew up. Then there was a young lady. One day soon after breakfast, she got the digging bar, pickaxe and so forth, and dug every inch of that area and found this long root. And she removed it. After that it never grew. Now, the bamboo plants on the surface are like hindrances. Fetters are like the root. Underground there is a whole network of roots. As long as those network of roots exist, plant grows. Network of root is fetters. There are 10 of them. Hindrances are only 5. Temporarily you can remove hindrances, particularly when you attain jhanas. You can suspend them, subdue them, temporarily nullify them, but they grow back again. As soon as you come out of jhana, they grow back again. Then, in order to get rid of fetters, you have to practice vipassana. When you practice vipassana, you go into the root of hindrances. Root of hindrances are fetters. Even the fetters have their roots. They are called asava. Asava means influxes, continues to flow. Asava also has their roots. They are called anusaya. Anusaya are the tiny little roots. It is like we have arteries and capillaries. In our eyes have capillaries. They are so tiny little, you hardly can see them. But they also bring oxygen, blood into our eyes. Similarly, these tiny little anusaya nourishes asava, asava nourishes fetters, fetter nourishes hindrances. They all are related. I have wondered why the second noble truth lists 3 kinds of craving, bhava, bhava, vibhava. Whereas the factors of craving in dependent origination is listed as 6 kinds, craving for rupa, sabda and so forth. Your question is how I have wondered why. I see. Second noble truth is the desire. List 3 kinds of craving. Kamatanna, bhavatanna, vibhavatanna. You say dependent origination mentions 6. Dependent origination mentions 6. These 6 belongs to kamatanna. Kamatanna means craving for sensual pleasures. Sensual pleasures arise through the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body and mind. 4 form, sound, smell, taste, touch and thought. These are the objects of our senses. And dependent origination talks about these 6 senses, 6 the sensory stimuli, objects, and that is one of the 3 kind of cravings. Dependent origination talks about only one of these 3 kinds of cravings. And this is what repeats again and again in other lives. That's called Bhavana. This is very interesting teaching. Friends, in this life, we try to please our senses, satisfy our senses all our life. Every day we try to satisfy our senses. We want to see human, animal, sceneries, countries, rivers and mountains and millions of things we want to see. Is there any end to that? No. I am very old now. I like to see something, somewhere that I have not seen before. Or things that I have seen before, I want to see again. It never ceases, never stops. And hearing, you hear music, you have various kind of songs, jazz, all kind of names you mention. You have to hear talks, political, economics, philosophy, psychology, talks. Dhamma talks, adhamma talks, countless things you want to hear. There is no end to that. You hear, oh, so and so, what a powerful orator giving a lecture. So you flock there to listen to it. So and so is singing beautiful, like celestial music. You go there. It never ends. And the smell, flower smell, perfume smell, food smells, and so forth and so on smell. There is no end to that. And the taste is the worst. You want to eat this food, that food, Mexican food, Indian food, Chinese food, Japanese food, American food, South American food, North American, so many variety of foods. You go to certain countries, the whole country, cities are open 24 hours. All the restaurants are open. People go on cruise ships. I went on 3 cruise ships. Last one had 3,000 passengers and 1,000 crew members. I didn't go there to enjoy, but I went there because people invited me to lead retreats. 8-9 days retreat on board. That's called holistic holiday. Is the name of that, holistic holiday. So they sent me a ticket. I went there. Boy, all kind of food, any kind of food you can think of is in that ship. People are eating, and there are swimming pools, they swim, and while swimming they eat ice cream or drink beer and floating. Sometimes when the ship called on the port, helicopter comes. One person has a heart attack because they eat. No. So I see it is very interesting. That is the way we use our tongue, abuse our tongue, not use, abuse our tongue. Then body. We abuse our body more than anything else. In drinking, eating, sex and so forth. And when we are going to die, we remember all this. And you think, oh, I could not finish, I could not do such and such thing. At least I can do it next life. So you have little extension to the next life. Next life you want to fulfill the things that you could not fulfill in this life. That is how you go on to the next life. That is called Bhavana. Bhavana, to become again, to enjoy what you could not enjoy here. And there is another tanna called Vibhava tanna. Vibhava tanna is, there are two meanings. Vibhava means property, but I don't think that that can be applicable here. Vibhava tanna means Bhava tanna is sometimes better than Vibhava tanna. Vibhava tanna means this life is enough. I have suffered enough in this life. I don't want any more life. Many people have gone through so much trouble, pain, suffering in this life. They are tired of living and they don't want any more life. And they are dangerous because they don't have wish for doing wholesome things. This is the only life, therefore eat, drink and be happy and die. Khale mole bho judani is duniya se kya leke jana, they say in Hindi. Eat, drink, when you die you don't take anything from this life. Therefore, they are nihilistic. And this is another desire, not to have any more life. Friends, no matter how much we wish not to have any more life, you cannot stop it. Because the desire is there in you, greed is there in you. So long as these two factors exist, another life is definitely possible. And therefore, anyway, that desire is another kind of desire. So, Kamatanna, Bhavatanna, Vibhavatanna are mentioned in the second noble truth because it is a very important thing for us to remember. And dependent origination talks about what happens in this life. Okay. Sometimes in the morning meditation, I feel like I am at that stage right before falling asleep, where my thoughts seem surreal or delirious, except in not exact, actually asleep. Okay. Is there something to be learned from my what you call cerebral meditation, or is this a sign that I need to get up and do a walking meditation? Okay. Actually, if you feel more drowsy even after you get up in the morning, it is difficult for you to have good meditation. I would suggest, as you mentioned here, do little walking meditation. Or, I think somebody introduced yoga to warm up. As soon as you get up in the morning, drink hot cup of water. Hot cup of water, not cold cup of water. That stimulates your senses. And then do at least 10 minutes exercise. 10 minutes. If you have space, make a brisk walk for 10 minutes. Or anything, moving your hands and legs and so forth for 10 minutes. Then your sleepiness will disappear. I think walking meditation you cannot do because you are still sleepy. You may fall down. So do some other vigorous exercise. What does anicca mean for rupa objects and not for the consciousness of rupa? Rupa object, in what way can rupa objects then themselves be analyzed into fundamental elements, and what are their fundamental elements? Fundamental elements, as you know, earth, water, air, fire. These are the fundamental basic elements. Anicca means for rupa objects, and not for the consciousness of rupa. Now, anicca means impermanence. Seeing impermanence in a real deep sense is not very easy. We can see impermanence in a superficial way, but the real deep understanding of impermanence is blocked by three factors. They are called samoha, santana and santati. Three factors: samoha, santana and santati. Samoha means when all the factors, all the elements are compact. When the elements are compact, you cannot see impermanence in them. For instance, this wood is impermanent. This is impermanent. You cannot see impermanence in this because it is so tightly compact. But impermanence is taking place there all the time. Nothing, even this metal is impermanent. But we cannot see because it is so compactness. Every object that we see around is impermanent, but we cannot see them, hear them, touch them because of the compactness. But over a long period of time, we see them rotten, brittle, breaking into pieces. Because the internal impermanence has been taking place all the time, never stop. Secondly, santana means shape. This has a shape. Because of the shape, we cannot see its changes. because it has a shape. Length, width, height, depth, all these dimensions are there, and therefore we cannot see impermanence. Third difficulty is santati. Santati means continuation. For instance, I see you today, and tomorrow I see you. You look same. Day after tomorrow I see you. You look the same. You see the building. It was completed in 1997. From that time up to now, it looks the same. Day after day, I look at it, it looks the same. That is called, the changes are taking place so quickly that and so minutely, so subtly that you cannot see it. But we living beings, human beings, at a certain period of time, we can notice the changes. Grey hair, wrinkled skins, weak eyes, weak hearing, slow walk, and so forth. These are the symptoms or signs of impermanence. Through these signs of impermanence, we can see impermanence taking place within us. And therefore these three things blocks our way of seeing impermanence. One is compactness, second is shape, third is continuation, santati. And therefore all the elements are in every object, all the four elements are there. According to chemistry, you may see 109 elements or something, but all of them are made up of those four primary elements. And they all are changing. I think those who study chemistry can see changes little better than others, because when they mix two kind of chemicals, before their eyes they can see the changes. That's because of impermanence. So, otherwise it is very difficult. Maybe with a powerful microscope, very powerful microscope, we can see changes, impermanence. With our normal eyes, we cannot see them as clearly as with the microscope. Now, okay. Bhante, you mentioned there is an active consciousness, and then there is a consciousness that combined with rupa procedures, rupa produce life. Are they the same? I think this, you mentioned consciousness maybe, not I. Is the form vijnana and the letter chitta? What is the difference? Why two different words? Is there such a thing as a universal consciousness? Okay. You mentioned there is an active consciousness, and then and there is a consciousness that combined with rupa process produce life. Are they the same? Consciousness actually has three words: chitta, mano, vijnana. Vijnana is consciousness, that is active state. Chitta also is used for the same thing. There are more than three words, but these three words are found in one place in Samyutta Nikaya. Buddha mentioned chitta itipi, mano itipi, vijnana itipi. These three are synonymous. These three are synonymous. Difference is their function. Consciousness is the active state, is called vijnana. Then chitta is the state where we think. Variety. Chitta is variety. Mano is the state used for thinking. Man to think. But these are three phases of the same thing. Whether we call consciousness, mind, and vijnana, what you call thinking. These are three. All these three are same, used for the same factor, same entity, at different places for different purposes. The same thing. Therefore, there are not too much different in them. Is the form vijnana and the letter chitta. As I mentioned already, what is the difference? Why two different words? Different words are used for different places for express certain nuance. When there are tiny little shade of meaning, for that they use different words. Is there such a thing as universal consciousness? Universal consciousness maybe some people may be using, but I myself don't know what they specifically mean. Perhaps the nature of consciousness is universal, you may say. Nature of consciousness is universal. That's all I can say now. I think this is enough. Huh? Pansil? Oh. Now I think we have to end the retreat. This is the Metta retreat, as you all know. I want to conclude this with one more idea. That is, suppose you buy an old metal plate, dusty, dirty, and never used it, and you buy it and throw into a corner, and it collects more dust. Similarly, even though you have the seed of metta, you never use it. It remains sort of atrophy, disused, and get rusty. And you even don't know that there is metta in you. Second person, by an old metal plate, which is dusty, dirty, rusty, then he knows that it is dusty, dirty, rusty. He may use it occasionally and throw into a corner. And he never uses it again. Similarly, you have metta root, seed. Occasionally your heart melts and you think of practicing metta. That time you enjoy it. After that you just forget it. Rust again accumulate, what you call build up, dust build up, and it will be wasted. Third person buys an old metal plate, dusty, dirty, rusty. He knows that it is dusty and so forth, but he is lazy to use it. He postpones it. Never mind, tomorrow I practice. Day after tomorrow I practice. His seed of metta is like that. Never grows. Fourth person buys a metal plate, old, dusty, rusty. He knows it is dusty, rusty, dirty. As soon as he gets it, he cleans and put to use. Not only once, but every day he cleans it. Because if he doesn't clean it even one day is enough to collect dust and dirt. So he doesn't want to collect dust. So he keeps cleaning it, using it every single day. Then his metal plate remains shiny, bright, clean, no rusty. Similarly, if somebody has metta, we all have that root of metta. If we use it every day, then we can keep it polished. Don't let it be rusty, dusty. So friends, this is the simile I want to mention. I was thinking of it yesterday and day before. I didn't have time to mention this. And this morning I want to talk. I think this is the last note of metta for you to remember. Now you heard the bell. So now, Bhante Sandaji reminded me, you started the retreat with 8 precepts. I don't think you like to go home with 8 precepts. That is a little cumbersome. So let me administer the 5 precepts so that you will be comfortable. 5 precepts is easy to observe, easier than 8 precepts. So please recite Namo Tassa to...
you can take the books from here. Page number 2.
Those who know five precepts don't have to have the book. Only those who don't know. That book, page 5 precepts,
You define.
now
Number
page 3 in the old book, new book, page 5.
page 5.
This,
Page 5 in the
this book, page 5. Other book is page 3. Why do I, this one? This one, page 3.
page 2.
This one, page 5.